number 7 of the 12 days of MLB rankings, coming in hot. If you've noticed, I've been wearing jerseys of guys who are going to be ranked, and today we've got Mike Trout on, which means it's the center field rankings. Now, center field is a super weird position. There is some insane elite talent at the top, and there's the middle, and then there's just everybody else. So these rankings are kind of going to be a little bit all over the place. I think more so than any of them, they might have the most volatility because guys are just so inconsistent at this spot. I don't know what it is. A lot of good fielders, no hitters. A lot of good hitters, no fielders. It's all over the place. So of course, if you guys do enjoy these rankings, make sure to drop a like on it. It really does help support the channel, as well as subscribe if you have not yet done so. Click that sub button, join the team. Get in the comment section down below. Let me know what you're thinking about my rankings. Do you agree with them? Do you disagree with them? Give me your thoughts and opinions. Drop me a follow on all my social media at GiraffeNeckMarc, links in the description, and let's get going into these rankings. All right, let's get the center field started at the number 30 spot, newly acquired Boston Red Sox, Jackie Bradley Jr. Now, I know this might be a little harsh for JBJ, and I hate to do it to a former Gamecock, but last year was really, really bad, and we've seen him have these super down years offensively where he's like way below average. And if the defense isn't going to be elite like it was last year, it's really hard to like value Jackie Bradley Jr. Plus, he might not get all that much playing time out in center field with the Red Sox. He has a projected WRC plus of 76. While he had that great year in 2020, it was only 55 games, and really, since 2016, he's been a below average hitter, and the defense has been getting worse as the years go on. I just can't put Jackie Bradley Jr. much higher right now. There's not a whole lot of upside. But that being said, I don't know, the Red Sox, I could totally see him bouncing back. I wouldn't be shocked. For 29th best center fielder in Major League Baseball, Colorado Rockies center fielder Sam Hilliard. Sam Hilliard is, he's an interesting play. Offensively, below average. There's not been a whole lot of promise with that bat outside of the 27 games he played in 2019. Defensively, he's a good athlete, but nothing jumps off the page. And last year in 81 games in Colorado, he had a 37% K rate, a WRC plus at 85. The defense was fine, nothing special. I don't really see a huge ceiling here for Sam Hilliard, who for his career is like a 750 OPS guy out in Colorado playing center field. It's gonna be tough. I just don't have Sam Hilliard that high right now. Coming in at the number 28 spot, Philadelphia Phillies center fielder as of right now, Mickey Moniak. And I say as of right now because he's kind of their projected guy, but really it's hard to tell with the Phillies. I mean, Moniak in the last 2 seasons has played a total of 29 games, and it's not even a real fair sample size to judge him off. 128 average, 241 on base, 191 slugging, 432 OPS. Gave him a WRC plus for his career of 18, but he's projected for like a WRC plus of 80 next year, but in about half a season. His defense, he's a good athlete, but it's nothing stellar right now. The former number 1 overall pick definitely has talent, definitely has some hype, but it's a little hard to figure out what exactly you're going to get from Mickey Moniak, especially for a guy who hasn't really succeeded that much in the minors either. I'll put him at 28. Detroit Tigers center fielder Derek Hill is going to be coming in at the number 27 spot in today's rankings. If you've watched this guy in the field, you see him fly around the outfield. He's got blazing speed. He made some insane catches last year. That's the real kind of highlight of his game. Offensively, though, I mean, it was a small sample again. In the 49 games, he really didn't perform too well. 259 average, 313 on base, 388 slugging, a 92 WRC plus, 3 homers, 14 RBIs, stole 6 bases, 28% K rate, 7% walk rate. Kind of similar to what he did in the minors in terms of rates. And offensively in the minors, showed a little promise in AAA last year, but that's kind of been it for his minor league career. So I'm not really sure how to project this guy, but it looks like defensively at least, he's going to be able to fly around the outfield and make some crazy catches. I'll put him at 27. Kind of a similar-ish type player coming in at number 26, Christian Pache of the Atlanta Braves. Pache has really struggled at the major league level in the extremely small sample size that we've seen him. He's played 24 games, only 72 plate appearances, but he struck out 37.5 times in those plate appearances and only walked 2.8%, WRC plus at -6. Again, I don't really care too much about that sample as for projections. Now, of course, I know it's an extremely small sample size, but he has struggled mightily, and it seems like it's going to take a little bit more of an adjustment for Pache to really perform at the level that we once thought. And even so, in the minors last year, he did struggle a bit. He was only league average with the bat in AAA. While he does have insane defense, he's going to be an elite defensive outfielder for sure. The question is always going to be the offense for Pache, and right now, he just doesn't seem major league ready, which is why I have him at 26, because that glove will play anyway. Getting the top 25 started at the number 25 spot, Washington Nationals center fielder Lane Thomas. Lane Thomas looked pretty decent when he moved to Washington last season. Had a nice little stretch there with them. He played good baseball. 45 games, 206 plate appearances, 7 homers, 14 doubles, 2 triples, 27 RBIs, hitting 270 with a 364 on base, 489 slugging, 853 OPS. Good for an OPS plus at 103. Now, defensively out in center field, that's where there's a little bit more of question marks, but I think that Lane Thomas can definitely swing the bat. Plus, he had a 14% walk rate. Super interesting stuff. So while the bat looks promising and that 14% walk rate looks really good, I think you got to move this guy to the corner because in center field just looks a little overmatched right now, which is why I'm going to put him at 25. Center field, you got to have that defense a little bit. bit as well. For the 24th best center fielder in Major League Baseball, Steven Duggar of the San Francisco Giants. Nice little breakout season in quotation marks for Steven Duggar. Way better offensively than he's been in the past, and part of the reason is because he just did not face left-handed pitching. He only had 50 plate appearances against them, so he got to face righties, and he was more successful. Last year in 107 games, Steven Duggar hit 8 homers, 14 doubles, 5 triples, 35 RBIs, stealing 7 bases, hitting .257 with a .330 on base, .437 slugging, .767 OPS. Defensively, pretty strong out in center field, WRC plus of 107 last year. Very solid athlete, good glove, plays well against righties. I think that's kind of in this mid-20s range. For the 24th best center fielder in Major League Baseball, Cincinnati Reds, Tyler Naquin. Now Naquin, another guy, probably not actually a center fielder. Could rank Nick Senzel, but it felt a little bit tough right now. Naquin struggles defensively. He's pretty awful out there in center, but at the plate, he did show some signs last year of having some talent there. In 127 games, 19 homers, 24 doubles, 2 triples, 70 RBIs, hitting .270 with a .333 on base, .477 slugging, .809 OPS. Is good for a WRC plus of 110. He definitely was above average offensively with the bat. Defensively, that's where the big questions lie. He's not great out in center field, but it's not like I ranked him high. 23, I think that's fair. I'll take the offense with the down defense over some of these guys I just mentioned. Next up at the number 22 spot, Miami Marlins center fielder Brian De La Cruz. Another guy similarly, probably not a center fielder, but offensively, he showed some really good stuff last year with Miami. In 219 plate appearances, 5 homers, 7 doubles, 2 triples, and 19 RBIs last year for De La Cruz, hitting .296 with a .356 on base, .427 slugging, good for a WRC plus at 115. His defense is not as bad as the aforementioned Naquin. He walked 8%, struck out 24. He did have an extremely high BABIP, so those numbers are probably going to regress, but even then, he's probably about a little bit better than league average offensively, especially in center field. Brian De La Cruz is an interesting player. I'm going to give him a little bit of the benefit doubt at number 22. Just missing out on the top 20, coming in at number 21, one of the most interesting players in Major League Baseball, Dalton Varsho. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but in the minors, Dalton Varsho played catcher and he played center field. And in college, we even saw Dalton Varsho play the infield, variety of infield position. Dude's a freak. And he actually looked solid last year playing center field. He was about league average defensively. And at the plate for Varsho in 95 games, 11 homers, 17 doubles, 2 triples, 38 RBIs, stealing 6 bases, hitting .246 with a .318 on base, .437 slugging, 755 OPS. That gave him a WRC plus of 98. Great base runner, decent in the field, decent at the plate. I like the projections for Dalton Varsho here at number 21. I just trust in a guy who can play 41 games of catcher and also play 30 in center field in the season. That's insane. Getting the top 20 started at the number 20 spot, Michael Taylor. I should say Michael A. Taylor. While offensively he has little to no game, 142 games, 12 homers, 54 RBIs, 14 stolen bases, hitting .244 with a .297 on base, .356 slugging, 77 WRC plus. The bat's not strong. Defensively, he might have been the strongest center fielder in baseball last year, won the Gold Glove, was top of the leaderboards among OAA and DRS. Michael A. Taylor's value truly does come in the field where he is elite. So that to me puts him in the top 20 despite having just a pretty awful bat. Rafael Ortega, the Chicago Cubs, coming in as my 19th best center fielder. I didn't expect to put a guy who had his best season at age 30 in the top 20, but Ortega actually looked really good with Chicago last year. In 103 games, 11 homers, 14 doubles, 2 triples, 33 RBIs, stealing 12 bases, hitting .291 with a .360 on base, .463 slugging, and a WRC plus of 120. That's pretty sick for Rafael Ortega. Now, defensively in center field, he's nothing special. He's right around average, if not slightly below average, but if he's able to hit at this high level like he showed in Chicago last year, plus that defense, he's at least a top 20 center fielder. It's not like center field is particularly stacked right now. Sure, Rafael Ortega, 19, why not? Coming in number 18 on my rankings, Chas McCormick of the Houston Astros. McCormick kind of is okay. He looks pretty decent. 14 homers and 12 doubles last year in 108 games, driving in 50 runs, .257 average, .319 on base, .447 slugging, 766 OPS. Good for a WRC plus of 109. Again, defensively, he's very fine. I mean, we're kind of hitting this group of guys now in the middle that do everything just a little bit above average. And that's kind of Chas McCormick. Nothing jumps off the page with him, but he is by no means a bad player. Does add some value to the team. Was a 2-win player in 108 games last year. That's pretty solid. Coming in as the 17th best center fielder in Major League Baseball, Miles Straw of the Cleveland Guardians. Miles Straw ended up having a pretty valuable season last year, 3.7 WAR. Granted, he did play a full year, 158 games, 630 plate appearances, but he did some things well. A 10% walk rate, K rate under 20%, WRC plus, albeit 98, not the worst. And defensively, he was very, very strong. Of course, he runs the bases well as well. 30 stolen bases. As for the counting numbers, they don't jump off the page. 4 homers, 29 doubles, a triple, .271 average, .349 on base, .348 slugging, 696 OPS. He does struggle to barrel up the baseball, but very strong defense, great base runner in a weak position like center field. I think that puts Miles Straw right in the middle here at number 17. At the number 16 spot, Seattle Mariners center fielder Jared Kelenic. Kelenic is a guy who looked really bad last year at times, but also showed some promise. And I'm just a believer in this dude. I think he's going to be one of the better players players in baseball as we get later in his career, and I don't think his season in 2021 is indicative of the player he's going to be in 2022. And neither does Steamer. Steamer projects him for a 103 WRC plus, which I think it could even be higher. I don't think he's going to hit 230 with a 300 on base. I think it will be better, but I understand because last year was not great. 93 games, 14 homers, 43 RBIs, 6 stolen bases with a 9.5% walk rate, 28.1% K rate, WRC plus at 73. And defensively, he did look a little bit shaky, and that's the one thing I think you have a real concern about is will he be able to actually play center field at the major league level? But based on what we've seen in this guy in the minors and just the pedigree that he has, I can't put him that low because I do think Kelenick's going to be a stud. I think he's going to be a beast, and I would be more surprised if he stinks next year than if he has this breakout season. So I've got Kelenick at 60. Right at the halfway point here, 15th best center fielder in Major League Baseball, Adolis Garcia. Adolis Garcia is also a really hard guy to rank because he played half the year in center, then he played half the year in the corners, kind of all over the place. And while his defensive numbers aren't bad, they're actually pretty good in center field. He had a tale of two seasons. Of course, to start the year, scalding hot, and it kind of made his overall numbers look decent. 149 games, 31 homers, 26 doubles, 90 RBIs, 16 stolen bases, hitting 243 with a 286 on base, 454 slugging, 741 OPS. But again, I talk about the tale of two seasons, 840 OPS hitter in the first half, 626 in the second half. That's a huge difference, and that's why he ended up finishing with a WRC plus at 100. I'm interested to see what he does in 2022. He's going to have better players around him, so I wouldn't be shocked if his numbers improve. But I think we need to see a little more consistency out of Adolis before I start putting him closer to this top 10 range. Coming in as the 14th best center fielder in Major League Baseball, I've got Aaron Hicks of the New York Yankees. Had a super hard time ranking Hicks. I wasn't sure what to do. Only played 32 games last year, and honestly, since 2019, he's only played a total of 145 because of injuries and shortened season, whatnot. But I will say in those 145, he's still pretty good. 22 homers, 23 doubles, 2 triples, 71 RBIs, hitting 223 with a 338 on base, 410 slugging, 747 OPS, gives him a WRC plus of 104. During that time, he has a walk rate of almost 15%, so that alone is pretty disgusting. And he's been able to show that he's a pretty solid center fielder in the past, but recently his age has shown, his injuries definitely haven't helped, and he hasn't been very good out there. So maybe I'm giving him a little bit too much of the benefit of the doubt, but I put Aaron Hicks at number 14 because at least offensively, I think he's going to be able to provide some legit value for the Yankees. Oh boy. Coming in at number 13, Cody Bellinger of the Dodgers. I know, Cody Bellinger was so bad last year. I mean, so bad. 48 WRC plus. He did almost nothing right. He was horrendous. But he was an MVP 2 years ago. He was disgusting. And even in 2020, which was considered a down year, he was still very, very good, and the glove is always strong in center field. I expect him to bounce back. Steamer projects him for a 114 WRC plus, along with some great defense. That's still probably top half of the league in center field, and I think he could be even better. We saw him start to look better as the playoffs went on, but I understand how bad he looked last year. 95 games, 10 homers, 9 doubles, 2 triples, 36 RBIs, a 165 average, 240 on base, 302 slugging, 542 OPS. Putrid season. Awful. But I just can't put him that much lower. I feel like this is a fair ranking for him. Coming in at the number 12 spot, I've got Lorenzo Cain of the Milwaukee Brewers. Lorenzo Cain, still very strong in center field defensively. I mean, the guy gets to every single baseball. The bat is starting to diminish a little bit, and honestly, in the last 2 full seasons that we've seen him play, it hasn't been that strong. Since 2019, you're looking at a WRC plus of 88, but that defense is so elite that does bump him up a bit. He's a great base runner, and I think he's probably more so this 2021 Lorenzo Cain than we saw in 2019. But of course, going into his 36-year-old season, you have to be careful. Steamer does project him for a 98 WRC plus, a 2-win player. I think those are all completely fair estimates. I think those are all completely fair projections. Lorenzo Cain's probably like a 10 home run guy, 25, 30 double dude with good defense, doesn't strike out a ton. I'll put him here at number 12. And then just missing out on the top 10, coming in at the number 11 spot, Kevin Kiermaier. And here's why. The offense has gotten better the last 2 years, and of course we know his defense is elite. He might be one of the best defensive center fielders in baseball, if not the best. And we've seen some legitimate improvements in his game on the offensive side, which is huge for his value. Since 2020, he's played 171 games. He's had a walk rate almost at 10% at 9.7, a WRC plus at 99, that's basically league average, stole 17 bases, 7 homers, 59 RBIs. He's playing a lot better baseball. I mean, at 326 on base for Kevin Kiermaier, that's very doable. With that defense, it gives him immense value, puts him just outside the top 10. Getting the top 10 started at the number 10 spot, Harrison Bader of the St. Louis Cardinals. Bader's looking really good. He won a Gold Glove, one of the best gloves out in center field. Again, if not the best, he's a freak athlete out there. And he had a really good year, albeit in 103 games last year for the Cardinals. 16 homers, 21 doubles, 50 RBIs, stealing 9 bases, hitting 267 with a 324 on base, 460 slugging, 785 OPS. You combine the last 2 seasons, you're looking at 153 games, 20 homers, 28 doubles, 61 RBIs, 12 stolen bases, 784 OPS, WRC plus at 111 with that elite defense. He's a 4-win player. Harrison Bader is definitely top 10 in center field. He might even get a little bit higher with another strong season. Coming Coming in at the number 9 spot for me, Ramon Laureano of the Oakland A's. Kind of forgot about him because, of course, the steroid suspension, and that does suck. But based on what we've seen, since 2019, even 2018, Ramon Laureano is really, really good. Defensively, he's got a cannon of an arm, absolute laser. He makes great catches out there in center field. And at the plate, he's been really good in the past, albeit maybe with a little steroid help, but still, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Since 2020, Ramon Laureano, 20 homers, 29 doubles, 64 RBIs, 14 stolen bases, 142 games, hitting .235 with a .325 on base, .416 slugging, 741 OPS. Doesn't sound great, but when you adjust it, WRC plus 108, good defense, all around solid player. I think Ramon Laureano is definitely a top 10 center fielder. For the 8th best center fielder in Major League Baseball, Trent Grisham of the San Diego Padres, a dude who started off the season so hot last year, got ice cold towards the end, battled some injuries as well. I still think he's very good because, of course, defensively, Trent Grisham is very strong, 8 DRS in 2021, and at the plate, he's shown the ability to be very good. Plus, he has a 10% walk rate with a little bit of pop in that bat. He's very good. WRC plus last year of 103 in 132 games, 15 homers, 28 doubles, 3 triples, and 62 RBIs with 13 stolen bases, hitting .242 with a .327 on base, .413 slugging, 740 OPS. By no means are these numbers elite, but they are very good, and at age 25, I think he can kind of hop into that top 5 category for sure again. At number 7, again, I didn't want to drop him this much, but he's got to play a little bit more. That's going to be George Springer. Health has always been an issue for him because, of course, when he is healthy and when he is on the field, the dude is one of the best hitting center fielders in the game. 140 WRC plus last year, 145 the year before, 155 the year before that. He rakes. That being said, though, health is an issue, and the defense is definitely diminishing as the health gets worse. He is not the same strong center fielder defensively that we once saw. But Springer, even last year, in just 78 games, 22 homers, 19 doubles, a triple, 50 RBIs, hitting .264 with a .352 on base, .555 slugging, .907 OPS. The glove again diminishing, and the health being an issue puts him a little bit lower, but boy, George Springer, this guy offensively at least is one of the best center fielders in baseball. Just missing out on the top 5, coming in at number 6, I've got Starling Marte of the New York Mets. Boy, am I so happy the Mets acquired this guy because he is so good. The glove has not dropped off yet. The glove was so strong in 2021. He was a 5.5 win player last year at age 32 in center field in just 120 games. The walk rate was a career high, which is huge to see. 8.2% walk rate, still had that K rate under 20%. A WRC plus last year of 134. That is disgusting. And he's one of the best base runners in the league. Stole 47 bases last year. In those 120 games, 12 homers, 27 doubles, 3 triples, 55 RBIs, 310 average, 383 on base, 458 slugging, 841 OPS. So happy Marte's gonna be roaming center field in Queens. Marte's a beast. Of course, taking into some more numbers, which is why I don't have him top 5, but yeah, he looks sick. He is sick. Getting the top 5 started at the number 5 spot. Here you go, Baltimore Orioles fans. I got your boy Cedric Mullins. I'm throwing out the years past because he was switch hitting. He wasn't the same player he was. 2021, he dropped it, and oh my God, what a year. 30 homers, 37 doubles, 5 triples, 59 RBIs, 30 stolen bases, hitting .291 with a .360 on base, .518 slugging, .878 OPS. Good for a WRC plus of 136. Defensively, OAA loved him last year. He was super strong with the glove. He's an incredible athlete, had a WOBA at 372. He was a 5.5 win player. Cedric Mullins is an absolute stud. Going into his 27-year-old season, I don't expect that much of a drop-off, honestly. Maybe not 30 and 37, but Mullins showed that he's a legit player, and the Orioles got a franchise center fielder out there. Cedric Mullins, top 5, without a doubt. Coming in as the 4th best center fielder in Major League Baseball, Bryan Reynolds. I'm so glad this guy bounced back, because I was worried after 2020. I put him down quite a bit, but 2021, Bryan Reynolds came back and showed us that incredible player he can be. The Pirates have a franchise center fielder. Last year in 159 games, 24 homers, 35 doubles, 8 triples, 90 RBIs, hitting .302 with a .390 on base, .522 slugging, .912 OPS. On a god-awful team, he even finished 11th in MVP voting. He was also great with the glove. He was fantastic out there defensively. And WRC plus 142, 5.5 win player, Bryan Reynolds. Stud, elite, top 5 center fielder. So glad this guy's played well. Pittsburgh, congrats. You have a franchise center fielder. For my 3rd best center fielder in Major League Baseball, heading to the American League Central, Luis Robert. And I know you're gonna say it's pronounced Robert. He also says it's pronounced Robert, and he's from Cuba. No way I'm calling him Luis Robert. Anyway, enough of my name rant. Let's talk about how good of a player he is. Last year in the 68 games he played, whew, impressive. And we'll combine it with 2020 because I think that's probably more so of the player you'll see. And yeah, it's a pretty good player. In those 124 games he's played, 24 homers, 30 doubles, 74 RBIs, stealing 15 bags, hitting .294 with a .345 on base, .512 slugging, .857 OPS. Good for a WRC plus of 132. Defensively, he's a stud. He gets to everything in the outfield. In these 2 seasons, 124 games, he's basically been a 5-win player. On the base paths, he's electric. With the bat, he's electric. He cut down the K rate last year, which looks fantastic. And with the glove, he gets to everything. Luis Robert is elite. He's a MVP in the making. Yeah, buying a bunch of this dude's cards because 3rd best center fielder in the game. game. Stud. And then just missing out on the number 1 spot, of course, coming in at number 2, Byron Buxton of the Minnesota Twins. Shout out to the Twins. You extended him. You should be thrilled if you're a Twins fan because Byron Buxton is a beast. Now, of course, staying on the field is a huge issue for him. He has played 100 games more than once in his career, and that was 2017. But even still, last year in just 61 games, he had a 4.2 WAR. That doesn't even make sense. And in those 61 games, 19 homers, 23 doubles, 9 stolen bases, a 1,005 OPS. Unreal. Honestly, I'm going to combine the years from 19 to 2021, and you're looking at a 162 game average for Buxton, 36 homers, 48 doubles, 91 RBIs, 22 stolen bases, 277 average, 321 on base, 575 slugging, 897 OPS with a WRC plus at 135, and some of the most elite defense you've ever seen in center field. He doesn't let balls drop. Byron Buxton, the clear-cut number 2 center fielder in Major League Baseball. And then, of course, coming in at the number 1 spot, I mean, it's obvious. It's Mike Trout, the best player in baseball. You guys knew who it was going to be. Now, I will say this. Trout's probably going to move to left field next year. It's probably going to end up being his home, but as of right now, we'll still keep him in center until we see that official change. While he's had some issue with health recently, he only played 36 games last year. I mean, just look at his numbers, guys. He had a 190 WRC plus last year in the extremely small sample. Let's just combine 2021 through 2019. You're looking at a WRC plus of 175. 175 WRC plus. 175 WRC plus. That doesn't even make sense. A walk rate of 17.4%. A guy who's projected to have a 155 WRC plus, 37 homers, 102 RBIs, steal about 10 bags. While his defense in center field is just not that great. It really doesn't matter because he is not just one of the best hitters in center field. He's one of the best hitters in all of baseball. Mike Trout, clear-cut number 1. I mean, what do you need to see from this guy? He's going to hit 40 homers, 30 doubles, driving 100 runs, walk 100 plus times, and have an OPS above 1,000. He's playing a video game. It's not fair with Mike Trout. One of the best players I've ever seen. Clear-cut number 1 at center field. So those are my center field rankings for the 2022 season. Best center fielder from every team in Major League Baseball. I'd love to know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Of course, share your opinions. I want to hear them. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it, as well as subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of the content coming at you. Follow me on all my social media at GiraffeNeckMarc. Links in the description. Tomorrow, we've got the right field rankings. Everything is starting to get closer. We're almost at Christmas and that big top 50 player ranking in Major League Baseball. You guys know the drill from here on out. Thank you so much for watching. YouTube recommends you watch this video. This is my center field rankings from last year. Click through those if you have not yet seen them. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow for another video. Bye.